Decision Diaries with Lynn and Jamie.
Welcome to Decision Diaries. Today we are going to be talking about deciding on a Halloween costume, either for yourself, as a couple, for your children, or maybe the decision your parents made when they dressed you up in Halloween costumes as well.
What about now the decision of what you're going to put your pet in and if you're going to torture them with that costume?
I love that idea, Jamie.
Yes. That is our new child.
Yes.
So we have done that. And as you can hear, we have a special guest.
Yes, you do. Special,
yes,
very special.
Very special. It is It's October 28th. So we are close to our 25th anniversary. So I brought my husband along for the costume conversation.
We got good stories.
Yeah, well, we needed a male perspective on this.
You always need a male perspective, Lynn.
Especially a sexy costume.
Not always a male perspective, but okay, let's start with easy. Let's start with easy. Pet costumes, yay or nay?
Yay.
Oh, yay. And
definitely.
Our first pet together, Bridget, was actually a model in a pet fashion show for Halloween costumes.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, she was. Yeah.
First of all, I have to pay an homage to Bridget because I remember that you nicknamed Bridget the worst purchase decision of it's like 1998 or something. I don't remember. But
worst purchase decision in 97. Yes.
97. Yeah, I'm pretty close. But that was so funny. But anyway, okay. So what did Bridget go as for Halloween?
So I think they ended up dressing her. She's a beagle. And they ended up putting this almost like a Cosby-like sweater on her. And I was like, that is not her look at all. Like I was very upset about the fashion show that she ended up with probably the worst costume. But we did end up putting other things on her over the years. Yeah. We did. We put, I think there was a hot dog costume because she was brown. And so we made her a hot dog at one point.
How did Bridget feel about these costumes?
She did not care at all.
Oh,
that dog did not. That dog did not mind. She didn't mind one bit.
That's
she just
awesome.
Wherever we were at, she'd just hang out and she just put her nose to the ground, sniff around. Our border collie, however, she cared a little bit. We dressed her up. She was black and white, so we dressed her up as a bat.
Yeah, we put a bat wing on her back.
She was not a fan.
Yeah, she kind of looked at us like I was meant to be a show dog, and now I'm with you guys, and now I'm dressed like this bat. That's unfair. I should be best in show. And now our current dog is a hunting dog,
right?
Very much an ADD, hyperactive
pointer.
And we did one of those where, you've seen those dog costumes where the front of the costume, if they walk towards you, looks like a little person. And we put a little boxer.
There's a boxing outfit.
Looked like she has boxing gloves.
It's like somebody coming at you like they're going to a boxing ring.
Yeah, and then we found the bat wings the other day, and we put the bat wings on her too.
I did when I had Toby. We dressed Toby like the walking towards you pirate. It was hysterical, but
awesome.
Anyway, all right. So now that we've covered pets, what about your most creative costume as a child, and how did you come up with the idea? And was it yours or your parents?
Can I go first?
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna go first?
I'm gonna go first.
Yeah, go, Lynn. Go, Bruce. I want to hear you.
Yeah, thank you. My favorite one as a child that I remember the most is Kiss was out, the band Kiss. And I didn't like Paul Stanley. I didn't like Gene Simmons. I liked Ace Frehley, the drummer. I didn't know he was a bass player or something. So I was like, I gotta have that guy. And my mom painted my face, the Ace Frehley face, and I got a great picture of her and I. She dressed up like a witch or something, and I got a great picture of her and I in that outfit, and it was the most creative one I ever came up with. I didn't realize about putting on makeup and how sticky and how my face would just feel like.
Oh.
It was the 70s, so it was kind of different. So it was like really sticky. I don't know. If I'd have known, I would have went with those terrible plastic masks. But,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember those masks?
Yeah. But what was the design? What was that particular Kiss design? Was that the one with the stars, or was that the one that looked like the cat?
No, that's Peter Criss was a cat. Ace Frehley had is like a silver. It was white with silver, I don't know. It looked
Oh,
killer.
okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynn, what about you? What was your most creative costume as a child?
So we all know my mom was an interior designer.
Mhm.
And
Wait,
at
wait, wait. Your
some
mom
point,
was an interior designer who didn't end up doing anything with it, but she, right?
well, yeah, I mean, she redesigned the house multiple times. And so, anyways, she discovered foam, cuttable foam. And all of a sudden, there was a contest at my elementary school. I don't know if it came with a cash prize, but my mom was like, "We're in it to win it." And she discovered this cuttable foam. So she made me an Oscar Mayer wiener hot dog. And she made a bodysuit for me. I had like mustard and ketchup. And then the foam was obviously the bun that she had like painted and spray painted to make it look like it, had been heated up or roasted. And so I won elementary school one. So then my mom took me around to others to compete. And then what's even better is I was trick-or-treating in the neighborhood with my Oscar Mayer wiener thing. And I went to Halloween parties where I couldn't sit down because it was not bendable. So I had to stand the whole entire time when I was at any of these little elementary school Halloween parties. I couldn't sit down, but I was trick-or-treating and I knocked on the door of an Oscar Mayer executive. And he
Oh,
took a picture of me and then dumped the whole bowl of candy into my pillowcase. And I split it with all my friends. All my friends were like, "Oh my God." And he like came out, took a picture, and he was like, "This is great. I mean, you don't see hot dog.
so
You don't normally see little girls." I think fourth grade as a super hot dog.
so
Yeah.
I have two questions for you. First of all, it explains, doesn't it, Bruce? It explains so
Oh no!
much.
I think your mom wanted to torture her a little bit by making her have to stand up. So that was probably a little bit into it too.
But
What's really
also, like, if
interesting,
your mother was in it to win it, and then was going to parade you around to compete with other kids, like that
Absolutely.
just shows she had a lot of time on her hands and was creative, and now I get your competitiveness.
what's even better is the next year she was into reusing things. So the next year she tried to turn the hot dog outfit into a taco. And I was like, no. Like I think at that point I was like, I don't want to go to parties and have to stand up as a taco. And then she was experimenting with like the lettuce and the cheese. And I put my foot down and I was like, I'm not gonna be a taco.
So how many years did you get to be something you wanted to be, Lynn?
Oh, well, we kind of reminisced a little bit on the way over that I did have one of those typical, like my mom gave up one year and did give me one of those plastic mask
Mhm.
things. And if people are listening and they are younger, if you don't know what that is, it was a plastic mask face, but whatever character you were was the same face that was on the body, which makes no sense. Like if you were Casper, you would wear a Casper face and then you would actually have the character Casper on basically a trash bag. I mean, it was just a plastic bag that
It
you
was,
wore.
yeah,
And
they were
so
horrible.
I think one year my mom was overwhelmed, or she was probably doing something extravagant for my sister since we're 5 years apart, and she just bought me one of those cheap plastic things. But probably not until maybe high school and college. And I forget my high school Halloween costumes, but I definitely remember my college ones, and ever since then.
What about you,
All right.
Jamie? What was your favorite?
So I had the opposite. I don't think anybody ever made me a costume ever. And I want to just, for anybody that doesn't understand about the masks, because that was my costume frequently, I would imagine, was they would cut you had this plastic like shield that looked like a character, and then they would have a cutout for the eyes. I think they had like a little breathing area for the nose, like nostril, right? And then like a little like line for the mouth. So you could not see any part of the face. There was no eating unless you like reached underneath the mask to eat while you were going. And we've come a long way. But I would say my best was in 5th grade. Remember the Fruit of the Loom commercials with the adult men that looked like fruit?
Yeah.
So I came up with a costume on my own to be a set of grapes. And I went out and bought a bunch of green grapes. and I made a felt hat. My grandmother might have helped me on this one. I think I had green tights, and I strung along green balloons, and I wrapped the balloons around my body, and that was my costume. I don't think I ever won a Halloween costume contest as ever. No, never. And but yeah, I don't remember anybody ever directing what I was going to be or making my costume. And I remember the other one. Speaking of flying by the seat of my pants, one year I decided, and this is a good one. I decided I was going to be a quote unquote housewife. So I got a robe. I put my hair in curlers. I put a face mask on, and I was like middle school at this point. And I carried a frying pan. And I remember people going and getting their spouses to come and see my costume.
That's awesome.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I got invited in my 20s to the most fabulous Halloween party I'd ever been to, and they had a theme. You weren't allowed to be invited to this party, and I got invited to this party secondhand because it was two wealthy gentlemen that were life partners, and they had this Halloween party that everybody wanted to get an invitation to because it was just that fabulous at this big house in Riverside. And they would announce the theme and people would have costumes made. And I got invited, like I got an invitation 24 hours before the party. And the theme was kings and queens. And it was so interesting because there were so many twists on it. So there was like Michael Jackson, King of Pop, and then there was like Elvis costumes, and then there were people dressed up as like deck of cards. And I went as, I was so desperate to go to this. I went as the Queen of Clean. I don't know why I came up with this. And I put on a 50s dress, and I had like the gloves, and I had the pearls, and I put my hair up like in a bun. And then when I got there, I was like, I am so unoriginal. There were so many fabulous costumes and like little spins on it. And then at the very end of this fabulous party with the best food and the best decorations, they had a second house in the back. And then that's when they did a show. And they came out and they did a whole show. And yeah, I think the party went on till like 4 a.m.
Oh,
So
fun.
that's my best adult Halloween party. Although I'm looking a little hungover today because I went to one last night.
Yeah.
What were you last night? What was your
Okay,
costume?
so yeah, last night you're gonna like this one, Jay. Okay, so last night, first of all, I didn't realize this Halloween party was gonna be the same night as Florida Georgia, so I also bought a costume for him. But what I bought was those 2 Barbie boxes. One was Barbie, and the other one was Ken. But I added things to it. I put a sticker on it that said clearance, and I was menopause Barbie. And then I put like my special features were like hot flashes, weight gain, mood swings. And then I bought a t-shirt that said, "Today is not the day." And I bought it 3 sizes too small. And I put a tan tank top on and made a little belly button and like big belly showing up. And then I bought like a size 16 pants. So they like were really oversized, and I kind of pulled them down so it looked like my belly was bigger. My belly was still there, but I was letting it all hang out. And then I carried a purse that contained vitamins and Weight Watchers and Slim Fast things and KY jelly for Astroglide, and I had all the items listed on the back of my box. What
Oh my
came
gosh.
with menopause Barbie? Like it was this
I
huge
love
list.
it.
Viagra, vitamins. And then
That-
I swear I got a hot flash while I was in the box. And so I pulled out my fan and I had a little pink washcloth. I was dabbing my forehead and people were taking pictures of me as I was having a real hot flash as a menopause Barbie. I was wearing like a pink puffy jacket over my attitude shirt.
I've got nothing. Like Lynn, you like I have nothing that compares to the creativity. I have a few from my other times, but you
Well, you want to know what's
creative.
interesting is Ken here. So I drove there, by myself because he was at the Florida Georgia, and then someone there had one of those, they were dressed as rednecks and they had
Right.
these little fake cigarettes that looked so real that like they came up and they pushed it against my arm and I like kind of jumped back because it looked so real. Well, I grabbed the cigarette and I started pretending like I was smoking it and texting it to him. And the next thing you know, 30 minutes later, he showed up with the box as Ken.
I was already on the way.
Uh-huh.
I was already on the way as Ken. I didn't do
But
anything
he really
special.
thought I smoked, though. He really
I was
thought
like,
that
what in the world is
he
going
thought
on at
that-
this party?
Yeah, he thought that I was joining in with all this.
Yeah.
There are some smokers there sometimes. Sometimes they
Ugh.
smoke when they drink.
Anyway.
Sometimes they smoke when they drink. I don't know, but these were fake. So that was last night, which is why I look in this condition. But
All right.
some other
So-
you were dressed as a fairy though. You went to a
Oh,
Halloween.
yes. So well, you know, because my business, our tagline is making moves magical. And I call myself the founding fairy. So my team and I had an industry party and we wore our uniforms because the people know us for that. And then we added the fairy ears and the fairy wings. And so it was creative for an industry party, but it wasn't like, you know, super creative for, you know, like Hot Flash Barbie. Bruce, has there ever been a costume that Lynn let you decide what you guys were going to be together?
Yes.
Okay, what was it?
Oh,
Lynn was very pregnant at the time. So she goes, I'm gonna go to this Halloween party as a nun. This is right before we had our first child, as a nun. I said, well, I guess that makes me the priest. So we did that. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was a good party.
yeah. We had to do something. I mean, I've seen very creative Halloween costumes with pregnant women,
Right.
where, you know, they sometimes make it look like an alien or something like that. But instead, I just wore this just, you know, huge black thing. And so he was the priest. And the priest had a special contraption.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
he did.
I was never super pregnant for Halloween, so I never got to do anything with the belly. Like I always wanted to have like the pumpkin painted on the belly, you know, just to take a picture of it. I got none of that. My kids were all born in the spring, so.
Now, have you ever done sexy Halloween?
You know, sadly, I did sexy Halloween. I was a Playboy bunny in like 6th grade when I didn't even know what it was. Because again, no involvement, you know, when you're a latchkey kid, your mom is just barely holding it together. I had a tap dancing costume and I just added a little bunny ear and, you know, and bunny ears and a little tail. And that was I guess that was my sexy.
Everybody in the neighborhood following you. Was that how that went down?
I do have. So my oldest had a Snow White costume, and I commandeered that as Will outgrew the costume, and it's a little sexy Snow White. It's a little short, and I will say that we went to an adult Halloween party a couple of years ago. I went with my boyfriend, and I put on the red fishnet tights.
Ooh.
And the costume, and I have black hair, so I, you know, can kind of pass. And I still have those fishnet tights. He liked them so much.
Man, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, well, I will tell you, this is going to sound sexier than it actually was, but I dressed as Wonder Woman. But here's the part. I didn't wear like the bustier. Instead, I wore one of those shirts that tries to make you look like you have a small waist. You know what I'm talking about? Where the body and the boobs are painted on the shirt, and then the waist and then the cape. But if I was walking and you really didn't have good eyesight, it really did look like I had the like little teeny waist because the cape kind of covered up the fact that it was a shirt. And then I did have a light up lasso. And I was in full character. I was going into like some of the stores and pretending that I was driving an invisible plane. And I was amazed that sometimes people just like, I'm looking like Wonder Woman. I've got a glowing lasso. I've got a cape. I've got this big hair, blue eyeshadow, and people are just acting like it's just an average day in the grocery store. And I'm like, hey, I'm on my invisible plane. And like, I didn't get anything.
I wouldn't have gotten it. So what would you say are some other creative costumes that you've worn through the years?
Well, I really I think I have to turn the attention towards my children on the
Let's wait for that because I have a few I've got to share
Oh,
first.
okay. You give us
Okay,
one, yeah.
so one in my 20s, back in the day, we had Ybor City. Do you guys remember Ybor City in Tampa? And they
Oh,
would have
yeah.
a Guava-ween, and everybody would get dressed up, and it was almost like a Mardi Gras, but it was a Halloween theme. And I decided to go as a street. And so I wore black and I put white, like down the middle, like dotted white. And then I put some cars and I put some street signs up, like, do not enter and, wrong way. And I thought it was great. I don't think anybody thought it was as funny as I thought it was. And then another one that I did when my kids were young and we had to go, we used to go to Halloween's, Disney's Halloween party, Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah.
And I want to tell me if you get it, because my ex-husband thought it was stupid, but I thought it was awesome. So I put a one of those crazy like fuzzy hats on, and I got a bunch of mismatched socks and put them all over my body. What do you think I went as?
Laundry?
The sock monster.
Oh, okay. I think one
don't
time
get
did we
it?
go with laundry? I thought we went as laundry.
We
one
never
time.
went as laundry.
Oh,
That's a terrible
sorry.
idea.
Is that I'm thinking of somebody else? I don't know.
The best outfit I ever saw was if you're familiar with I-4 doll, the one building.
Oh, I-4. Yes.
Yeah, the eyesore and I-4, the one building it's been building. They've been building that thing for probably 20 years. The guy dressed as the building.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic outfit. It was pretty plain, pretty simple, but yeah, that was a great outfit.
Well, I like outfits that you can get in full character and then nobody knows who you are. So this kind of does relate to our youngest child. So Corey was a difficult child for Halloween, because what he would do is he would pick out a costume, but then the day of Halloween, he wouldn't want to wear it.
One of those.
And he was one of those kids that would trick or treat for a while and then start dropping pieces of his costume, like almost like I'm done. Like he would just start and then he'd even drop his candy bag. And we were like, what is wrong with this kid? Like what's going on? So he picked out that inflatable dinosaur costume, and it was like $60, but we were like, he seems to be very passionate about it. He's all excited about it. He's definitely going to wear it. He wore it to Alexa's house, fell over one time, and then was like, no.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
No, he fell in the road.
Well, it was also 90 degrees in Jacksonville that night. It was so hot.
But he had like a pattern of doing this.
He couldn't see. Well, he did have a pattern of doing that, but you couldn't see through the glass. So it was crazy.
Yeah. So I was like,
but it was an awesome
no way. But I had brought like a spare taco costume for him. So he put on a taco, which was nice and comfortable. And I jumped in the dinosaur costume because I needed to get my $60 worth. And then I ended up going around. And then, I will tell you that it is amazing that when you're in one of those like fully engrossed, I'm being a dinosaur. I wasn't talking. I was making dinosaur motions, that all these little boys with lightsabers came up and started hitting me. Remember that? Like they were attacking me. And so you need like somebody who's going to like kind of steward you through. I couldn't see a thing. They were like stepping on my tail and I couldn't see a thing. So I was walking blind, but it was really a lot of fun. And I got more use out of that costume.
Oh, she still wears it.
I still wear it. Yeah.
She still wears it. We went to Tailgate City one time at Florida, Georgia, and she ran around that one Halloween Eve.
Yeah, I went to RV City wearing that same dinosaur costume. So we have gotten the $60 out of it.
And then some.
Yeah, out of it. But Corey had a Thomas the Tank Engine costume. He tore that off about midway through Trick or Treat, and some others. But the cutest one, and he won a contest with it, was when he was a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
That was really adorable. And what's really crazy about Florida is on Halloween night, you don't know if it's going to be like a cool night or it's going to be sweltering. So poor Corey and Sean, both of those costumes, the pterodactyl and the little lion, were full, that fuzzy stuff that's so cute on the kids. It's so adorable to make your child a fuzzy animal. And so Sean was an adorable lion, and Corey was an adorable pterodactyl. But the poor kids were just had sweat going down their face, but they were so cute. And of course, Corey won a contest, so
They
we
were
got
the
that.
first children with hot flashes.
Yeah. We did not time the weather well with their costumes that particular year. And then one year, Sean was a pirate, very thin costume, and that was the year it was cold. So we're just completely off. I've never really made a child's costume. Have you done that?
Made? I don't think so. No. I mean, put things together or bought the pieces that they needed so they could make it. Yes, but made? No, I don't sew.
Well, you have more creative children. Did you ever see them? Oh, I will tell you a funny story. So we were at, I think, I don't know what age our boys were, but we were at Party City, and there was a dad there with his teenage daughter, and she came out of the dressing room wearing like a sexy Dorothy, and he was like, absolutely not. Like, you just heard that dad go, nope, non-negotiable, not happening. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And my boys were like, ooh, I think she should wear it. I was like, okay, back up. Everybody back up. Like, they're having a moment. And he was like, no. And she's like, but dad. And I mean, you just hear it. And everybody in the whole place was just kind of like, he instinctively was like, no, you're not walking around the neighborhood like that. No way. And then when we met up with the family, we met at their house, and our kids were very young. And on the way to the house, the mother had told me, she was in my play group. She said, my family is very big into Halloween. Like, she turns her whole house into a haunted house. And I was like, that's awesome. And then when she opened up the door, sure enough, she was wearing the sexy Dorothy costume. And she had a very nice figure. I mean, I was like, wow. I mean, she really looked good. I remember that because she's walking around. They had a golf cart, so she wasn't having to walk around in her high red stiletto sparkle heels. But I don't know what I was wearing, but I felt like I was Frumpy Mom with Sexy Dorothy. That particular Halloween. Yeah, that's who I was. So your kids are creative. So what was their best costume?
They are. Well, so one year Will went as, are you familiar with the show Hedwig and the Angry Inch?
No.
No. Okay. So Will is very into theater, and this was a Broadway show, and Will dressed like the main character and ended up, somebody saw it on Instagram and turned it into like, what is the playbill called for Broadway shows? And Will ended up getting kind of like your mom's tombstone was on, like the best. Oh. Will's costume made it to one of those things. It was a really awesome costume. And Will, I mean, Thanksgiving is like their time. And they have definitely, but I'll tell you a really funny Halloween costume story for Will. So actually, no, I think it wasn't Will, it was Allie. So I'll take that back. But anyway, Will was the kind of kid that, we would go to Disney World and they would like be in the whole get up and, everything. So Will loves to dress up and has since they were little. So one year with Allie, I bought her the costume she wanted from the store, and she was giving me a hard time. And I'm like, that's it. You're not trick-or-treating. Like, I've had it with you and you're not doing Halloween. Like, right. And my mom and my ex-husband are like, that's a bit far. So what we did instead was, okay, you can go trick-or-treating, but you can't wear a costume. You have to go in your regular clothes. And I made her do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was and it was a cute costume. It was hard to do that, but but Allie is, I call her my best and my worst. She's either like super awesome and easygoing. Like, I just spent last weekend with her at Davis, and she's the one who recorded our song thing. She's fun. But when she gets with her siblings, she is the shit stirrer. And so that's why I actually have to do trips with my children individually because of Allie. I cannot get them all together.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, Sean was dressed as one time as the Anakin, young Anakin, actually one of the characters I'm not crazy about in Star Wars, but we dressed him as the young Anakin pod racer, and nobody could figure out who he was. And so I really felt like we lost that. Like every time he went up to the door, they were like, "Oh, you're a pilot." And then I was like, "No, he's Anakin from Star Wars. He's a pod racer." And like I felt like I had to every single time I rang the doorbell, I was like, "Star Wars, Star Wars. Did you see it? That's who he is. That's who he is." Because I special ordered that costume, and we didn't have a lot of money, and he was really into it, but nobody was really acknowledging it at the time. And then, of course, we went through the ninja stage. Now, the only other thing I will say is I have never dressed up where I was scary, or like there was a knife coming out of my chest, or I put like blood on my face. Like even when I was a zombie, I was kind of like a really kind of just I just looked like I was a tired zombie. I wasn't like all like gooey and stuff like that. So I've never done that part of the Halloween. Like I know some people that are super into that, and they get so creative with their makeup and it looks so real. And I admire those people. So those people that are out there, I'd love to see pictures of it. And I will tell you, there was a guy in my neighborhood who was very into, which is the one with the hockey mask. I always get Jason.
Right. Oh,
So he dressed as Jason in my neighborhood, and he never broke character, and it freaked us out. And what he was doing was he was getting rides where he would see us on one block, and then like a couple minutes would go by and we'd see him coming from a different direction. He like would drop in like with our little group, and I swear he was personally torturing all of us. I was so scared that night. I was like, we got to get home. Like we don't know if this is somebody that got to our neighborhood as like the real deal. And he just walked really slow, just like the guy in the movie. And oh, it was scary, super duper scary. And I've never gone to Universal Studios. What is that?
I couldn't go to that.
Oh my gosh, no way, no how. But I will say that I wish I did more sexy Halloweens. Maybe this is something I need to, maybe we do a sexy Halloween at home.
You can still do it. You can still do it.
Well, there's a lot of corsets and Spanx that are going to be required for a sexy Halloween.
I'm liking where this is going.
Bruce, I missed what you said. What'd you say?
I said I'm liking where this is going.
Oh,
that's
nice. Wait. Backtrack. Isn't it so sweet that after almost 25 years of marriage, he still sees you as sexy, Lynn?
All day long, twice on Sunday. Come on now.
Well, not this Sunday. This Sunday, this Sunday, I'm looking a little hungover from a very good Halloween party from last night. But so here's an idea. As we are kind of wrapping up, here's an idea for everyone. Here's a challenge, right? So it's a couple of days away from Halloween, but then post Halloween, buy up all the sexy Halloween costumes that are on sale for some home use. And we're talking about, if you can find,
can you get a gold bikini
from Star Wars? I think that's like that's the number one. That's number one. That might be happening only at home use. It's not something I'd go to a party with. But,
maybe we should make it our goal next year, Lynn, that we can wear those things, for reals.
Oh my God, that's a super lofty goal. But I think it's a good idea to just buy up all of the post Halloween sexy stuff, or just the things like the wings or the cattails.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
So if you're a parent, what is now we're sort of looking back, right? Because we don't have any control over what our kids wear, right? How important do you think it is to let kids make the decision on their costumes and just kind of like go with what they want and let them like spearhead making it? And like, what are your thoughts?
So I would say that I had kids so that I could dress them up a little bit. And so I would like ages up to 4 that I get to put cute things on them and make them look like adorable stuffed animals. I really, really enjoyed up to 4 years old. And then after that, I think honestly, after that, we started supporting what like characters they were into,
Yeah.
whatever they were like kind of into play acting with, we kind of followed their lead. We would bring them to stores and let them pick it out. We did shy them away from the gross stuff, the bloody stuff. Like a 5-year-old with a bloody mask. I don't know. Like sometimes I think
I'm
that's
with
more the
you. I
parent.
don't like the scary stuff. And I also like when I have decorations, I never use skeletons. I always do witches and pumpkins, and I can't get into the gore. And I don't like haunted houses except the Disney one, and so anyway.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right,
did see somebody dress a little child up as Chucky, and that was kind of funny.
I have to say I'm in with you. I think that the kids should pick and let them, and I think that age 4, I think you're right. I think up until that age you should have at it because they really don't care. And I mean, unless they're really vocal, and then, in that case, I do want to give a shout out to Will. I'm very impressed. So Will started selling their face painting skills to people. So on Halloween, people would buy a time slot, and Will would do their kids' makeup, which was pretty amazing because Will's like super talented with makeup. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I
special
would see those
effects
posts. I saw a couple of those posts.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
would even like
Um,
craft horns and things. And one year made me like a third eye that was coming out of my forehead, and with pretty insane stuff. So anyway,
yeah.
all right.
So yeah, what else did you want to say about the costumes other than the our
I've
future
seen a
home
lot
use?
I've been, I've seen some funny costumes.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah,
funniest thing you've seen?
The great ones, and probably one of the funniest things that ever happened to me at a Halloween party was this person comes walking in. It's a big red dog, Clifford. Of course, I didn't have kids then, right? So I didn't know what it was. And this lady goes, I said, well, who are you? She goes, I'm the big red dog. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, 6 months later, I'm watching Clifford every day with my son. So, it was kind of funny in hindsight. But, yeah, all things like that. I mean, Halloween's a fun time to go out and explore and have a good time.
Well, I like theme parties. So, like I said, being invited to that Riverside themed party where they sort of laid the theme kind of gave you some constraints of your creativity. So that really helped. But the same party that he's talking about, we didn't have costumes, and we went there. So we went last minute, about an hour before the party started, to buy costumes. And the only things that were available was like, I think I was an alien, and the other wife, she had to pick something like kind of lame. But there was a children's Elvis costume, and her husband, who was what? How tall was he?
6'2".
6'2", put his body into a child's Elvis costume. And let's just say we had to buy a pair of boxers because there was a lot of stuff being like shown there. But it was so tight, but it was funny because it didn't come all the way across his chest. So
he looked like Elvis.
Yeah, he had this big hairy chest coming out of this child's costume. And we just walked into the party, and like we said, there were a lot of parents at this party, and they were all dressed as children's characters. And we've got this guy with, basically his, private parts hanging on for dear life in this children's costume. And we were like, we're at the wrong party. So we ended up leaving that party because they all had to go home and tuck their kids in bed. And we took our party to San Marco, where the costumes got sexier. I think he eventually took off the boxers and just let it all hang out at the bar. And people were buying him drinks because they just thought it was so funny. This 6-foot guy in a toddler costume. It was like a teen costume.
I'd say like a teenager.
I don't know. But
So
anyway.
do you guys have any Halloween traditions with your kids? Anything that you do every year or did every year?
For a while there, we were going to a friend's house and trick-or-treating in their neighborhood. And that was about the only tradition we had.
Yeah. And in the neighborhood, there was a family, the Davis family, who owns, all the Winn-Dixie or started all the Winn-Dixie grocery stores. And one of those family members lived in the neighborhood, had this beautiful Mediterranean mansion, and they opened up their yard and created a haunted house. And then they gave away free popcorn and cotton candy and sometimes drinks. And then they put like skeletons in their Rolls Royce. And I mean, they just opened it up to the whole neighborhood. And we just enjoyed going in, and we really appreciated all the effort they went to. But we also got to see like this beautiful.
Yeah. And the adults got free shots.
Yeah.
Nice.
The
Yeah,
adults,
it was a good
they
deal.
gave us
So I have to
Fireball.
tell you what I'm doing. I'm just moved into my new neighborhood, and I did this before a couple of years ago in my old neighborhood. I'm giving out Jello shots to the parents that are coming by with a flyer for my business that says something about our tricks will make moving a treat, and I'm hoping they don't think it's too cheesy, but
Yeah. Well,
But
you
so
know,
I have to
could
share
also put a podcast on there.
yeah. Well, I got to share my family's fun traditions. There are a couple that I loved doing. I bought this witch back. It was like a witch. There's like a candy holder, and I started doing it probably when my older two were like 3 and 5, or maybe a little younger. And every year I would have them stand next to the witch in their costume, so you could gauge how big they had gotten in comparison to the witch.
Oh,
Yeah, and
wow.
that was a cool one. I'm really glad I did that. And then we always would go to the pumpkin patch every year. And we even did it during COVID. And now my kids are like, I tried to get Allie to go last weekend when I was visiting her. And she's like, Mom, no. But I have every year we would go to the pumpkin patch. And in the beginning, they would all dress alike. And, and then it became torture. And that I always found that to be easier than the holidays. You know what I mean? To get the pictures done then with the pumpkins, because it's so beautiful. And then we would go to the Mickey's Halloween party every year. That was another tradition. So, I mean, for me as a Jewish person, I don't have those Christmas traditions. And so being able to kind of do Halloween felt more like an American holiday, or, not really a religious holiday. So we really got into Halloween.
Oh, the corn mazes was another thing that we would do, the pumpkin patches and the corn mazes. But I wasn't as good at keeping that tradition as much. I think our biggest tradition was going to the San Marco neighborhood and going to that particular haunted house. That's where I went as a dinosaur, where all the kids waiting in line to go into the haunted house, came over and were, we all want to fight the dinosaur. I'm like, I'm a friendly dinosaur. Don't step on my tail. But but anyway, well, we should probably wrap it up. What do you have to say about I think you're now I will say I'm very proud of that dad. I know that sexy costumes. I mean, I remember one time trying on a bathing suit and my mom was like, yeah, not happening. You're not wearing that bathing suit. And that's exactly the immediate response he had when, she just kind of came out of that dressing room and presented herself to everyone in the store. And that dad held firm. He was like, nope, I'm looking at everyone right now. Everyone's looking at you. Not happening. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as that's concerned, parents still should have some sort of say.
I agree with you. I thankfully my kids never pushed the envelope with that one, so I never had to, really put my foot down. I always just really liked seeing what they came up with. It was fun.
And we're actually proud of Corey represented Jimmy Buffett, and he went up to the big FSU Halloween party, and some street party. So, he's doing it for sure. I don't know that Sean did anything in Austin, but
we dressed up today.
Oh, he did. He dressed up as Trevor Lawrence today at work. So he was wearing a blonde wig. I thought he looked pretty good as Trevor Lawrence. So we were excited to see him doing that. So enjoy your children when they're young, and you can make them into little walking stuffed animals. Love that. And then I'm enjoying, as my younger one in college is still enjoying theme parties. I think it's about theme parties, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I had a theme party for my 50th, which was super fun. I think I told you I did 80s prom and wore my prom dress. But I'm not going to get us off tangent with my, ADD. But it was a fun conversation walking down memory lane. And so I guess for all of you who are going to be out there trick-or-treating or taking your kids trick-or-treating, be safe and don't eat any candy with razor blades.
Oh my God, is that even a thing? I don't even know. But I remember squishing their candy. I mean, that's old school 80s. And I say bring back the plastic mask 80s costumes. I'd like to see one of those.
No.
String on the back of those things were dangerous. Oh my goodness.
All right.
All right. Thank you for listening.